Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me
K-Squid's listener survey at ksqd.org. Do you want to hear hip-hop, doo-wop, flip-flop, J-pop, Django, tango, talk show, rock show, K-Squid, Hartman, Goodman, Computer Man, non-violent voices, so many choices, Kitchen Sisters, more resistors, Border Free, Jamboree, Good News, Santa Cruz, Downbeat, Shuffle, Lose Your Blues. Take our survey. Find it at ksqd.org. That's K-Squid's listener survey. Tell us what you want.
And I second that. Please go to the ksqd.org webpage and let us know what you like. And if you like the Dream Journal, let them know so that we can share the secret of the Dream Journal and whatever else you want. How can we support you? K-Squid is all about Santa Cruz and all about community. So go to the listener survey and let us know what you would like to hear.
Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you.
Good morning. You are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org. I am Catherine Bell, and this is the Dream Journal, a weekly show where we explore the healing powers of your nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with you. In the words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. So, wherever you are, even if you're driving, anything like that, I ask you to take a moment to notice your breath. That breath is a constant companion with us all day and all night, and so often we just pay no attention to it. But the breath can really be a gateway to paying attention to our body and noticing where we are here and now in this moment. So I invite you to notice where you're at. Notice your breath. Notice where your attention goes in your body. Notice what's happening in this very moment. Today we'll be speaking with Tzivia Gover about mindfulness. How does that relate to dreams? We're also going to speak about how to get a better night's sleep. And then in about 20 minutes, we're also going to have a little special feature today, because today is the Summer Solstice at 2:43 this afternoon. We will be the official Summer Solstice, and Cosmic Joe Jordan is going to be along to tell us what exactly that means. So that's coming up in about 17 minutes. This is Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. I'd like to remind you that the views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of Natural Bridges Media or of KSQD's staff, volunteers, or underwriters. Please check out the Dream Journal podcast. Look for it, review it, subscribe, and tell a friend. In case you miss any of our shows, or if you have to get out of the car to go to the farmer's market and you miss part of the show, you can always tune into the podcast, The Dream Journal. So one of the things that I really treasure about Dreamwork is that it helps me be a self-detective, to really notice who I am and just to notice that. And what does that feel like? Like there's something about noticing my thoughts and noticing the things that come out of my mouth and really going a path of self-awareness. And personal growth has been a long-term quest of mine through many different disciplines, and dreams are the ones that have stuck for me in the last 10, 15 years. And there's a way that the dreams really make us aware of what is going on for us. And especially in this time when we're becoming aware of our racial stereotypes and what we keep hidden, that is especially important. So I am continuing to work with this dream that's been so powerful for me a few weeks ago, where I cut off my own feet. And I feel the pain of that. But then there's this man here who's just slowly dancing, and I fall into his rhythm, and then pretty soon I feel like my feet are back. So there's a way that I can feel the pain of how I have been cut off at the feet or cut myself off at the feet. And yet I can also relax into being connected and grounded and present in my own body. And this moment, the phrase that was in my mind when I woke up seems especially apt, both for my personal growth and for the political moment. Like the phrase was erased to embraced. How do we start by noticing how we're erased and then opening up to how we are embraced? I will be inviting call-ins during the last section of the show in about 10:40, about half an hour from now. So get your questions ready and queue up your phone to 831-900-5773. That's 900 KSQD. I'd love to hear about one of your dreams, or you could ask a question. Again, that number is 831-900-5773. Okay, so we will get Tzivia on the phone, and let me tell you a little bit about her while Max is dialing in. Author and certified Dreamwork professional Tzivia Gover uses Dreamwork, writing, and mindfulness-based practices to awaken people to the extraordinary joy, beauty, and wisdom present in daily life. In addition to her private practice, Tzivia teaches online and in person, including her Dreaming on the Page writing classes. Her books include Joy in Every Moment and The Mindful Way to a Good Night's Sleep. She is the education director for the Institute for Dream Studies. And she has an MFA in writing from Columbia University. And Tzivia is also a certified proprioceptive writing instructor and Reiki master. Good morning, Tzivia.
Good morning. So good to be here with you.
Good to have you here. Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey with your dreams? How did you first get interested in dreaming?
Well, the truth of the matter is that dreams got interested in me ever since I was a little girl, and I think a lot of us share this story, certainly your listeners, and I'm sure you. Ever since I was a little girl, I had vivid dreams, I had memorable dreams, I had scary dreams, a lot of those. And for whatever reason, I was curious about them, so much so that when I was about 12, my grandfather gave me a copy of Freud's interpretation of dreams. Oh,
wow.
For my birthday.
That's a pretty heavy book for a 12-year-old.
Right? And this is the kind of, I say this with full love, self-love, but that's the kind of nerd I was. I tried so hard to understand that book, and I've spent the next several decades working on it. But the truth of the matter is, because the dreams were vivid, because I was curious about them, I stuck with them even when they were very scary. And I'm glad I did, because I had a lot of scary things in my waking life, and the dreams helped me find courage. And to this day, I learn courage from my dreams. I learn to push myself a little farther than I would otherwise be willing to go, with emotional healing, with taking risks in the world, and with living with my fears.
Right. There's a lot to really recognizing that we have fears and letting ourselves feel them, and yet living from them, even with them.
Exactly. It really makes life an adventure. And at this point, I've been living with my fears and my dreams, my beautiful dreams, my nightmares, which I've learned to find are beautiful, for decades and decades. And it's a really rewarding way to live. It ends up making you feel connected to yourself, to others, and to whatever mystery is behind all of this. So it's a creative way to live, and it's a soulful way to live. We could talk more about that. There are hard parts about being a dreamer, too. There are hard parts about having so many dreams and having disturbing dreams. But there are a lot of rewards as well. And that's why I've stuck with it.
Yes. Well, I wonder if you've just because some of our listeners probably have this, is what are some of the hard parts? What would you say are some of the challenges of being a prolific dreamer?
Sure. Well, one thing that we know is true from science and psychology is that people who have a lot of dream recall, and now statistics are statistics, individuals will have their unique experience, but statistically, those of us who remember a lot of our dreams tend toward depression. And that is very true for me. So one difficult thing about being a dreamer and taking the path of dream work is that, you know, there's some soul sadness in us. But that's beautiful, too, because I think it means we're sensitive and we're feeling the world around us. But other difficult parts are when you know, so we have to back up a minute and say that we all know that everybody dreams every night, whether they remember them or not. But in contemporary Western culture, dream recall is very low. And I think part of that is because dreams can be anywhere on the spectrum from unusual, confusing, mystifying, to disturbing, to traumatic. I mean, some nightmares can actually feel traumatic and be experienced as trauma. So this is difficult. So a lot of people tamp them down, put them aside. You know, they might not even be able to sleep, not realizing it's because they're afraid to dream.
Interesting.
And to be with that discomfort, right?
Right.
So that's the difficult part. Dreams can be scary.
Oh, absolutely. Well, like the show, the dream I shared at the top of the hour, you're pretty terrifying, really. You know, but to have the courage to stay with it, and it took a lot of years of dream work where a lot of my dreams just didn't resolve. I had traumatic dreams, and I just keep breathing through it and sharing with my dream coach and having faith that something here is helping me in some way, even though it seems really painful.
That's exactly it. And I ask the people I work with and the people I talk to, like I'm talking right now, to your wonderful community, you know, to have that faith. To have the faith that all of these dreams, in no matter what guise, come in the service of health, and healing.
Absolutely.
So it is an act of faith sometimes when they wake you up and get you shivering and breathing hard.
Right. You know, like blithely say, oh, good, so you had another nightmare. But, you know, when you have it yourself, it doesn't feel so good.
It doesn't, right.
You know, you mentioned sleep, and I know that's something. We actually had a listener request about how to get a better night's sleep, and you actually wrote the book on it. So I wonder
I did.
Yeah, so I wonder if you'd say like some of the highlights, like what do you recommend for people having a hard time sleeping?
I'd love to. So my book is called The Mindful Way to a Good Night's Sleep. So the mindful way, what I mean by that, so I'm not going to tell you how to get a good night's sleep in terms of medications or any of that. I'm not a doctor. But the truth of the matter is that things like meditation and, you know, a nice, relaxing and comforting sleep ritual have been shown, again, scientific studies have been shown to be as effective or more effective long-term than medicine. So it's the stuff we already know, but we don't want to do. Setting a bedtime, backing up an hour or so backing up an hour or so before bedtime to start to dim the lights, unplug, you know, start to relax, maybe stretch, and to have a routine, a ritual before bed. These things are basic. You know, your grandmother might have told you this stuff, other than the unplugging, which you wouldn't have known about.
I must say that the stretching is a new one to me. That's a great idea. Get your body really ready.
Well, yeah. So why the stretching is important, and also some really wonderful things to do, or a nice foot massage before bed, is the biggest sleep stealer is going to be what's between our ears, right? Our troubling thoughts, our anxiety, just our spinning mind, even if they're exciting thoughts, positive thoughts. So we need to get our attention out of our head and into our body. So real gentle stretching mindfully, a hand massage, a foot massage. I say get as far from the head as you can, get into your feet, you know? Those things will all help.
I like to play a little ocean waves. I have an app that plays ocean waves,
Nice.
and it's not very loud. It doesn't drown out anything, but somehow it just kind of draws my attention. So I'm just listening to
Yeah.
something else instead of what's going on in my head.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that sounds beautiful. I love that ritual. And then maybe you have some lovely dreams about the sea.
Oh, I have a lot of ocean dreams. It's definitely a theme for me.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, because that is such a thing with so much going on in the world, and with us, staying home. I feel like I don't get out of my own head as often. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and let's say something about what's going on in the world, because, we are living in very exciting times. It's that, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's said that there's that Chinese character crisis, which combines crisis and opportunity. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely what we are experiencing. But what we're experiencing right now is almost like if we thought about planet and our global population as an individual, that individual right now is in, if they want to take it, this wonderful Dreamwork session where finally the contents that we've been pushing down, the contents of the collective unconscious are coming up. All of our fears, prejudices, hatred, hurt, angers, things we didn't want to look at are coming up, and that's what dreams do for the individual. They bring up what we haven't wanted to look at, what we're doing to our planet, what we're doing to each other, racial injustices, economic injustice. It's all coming to the surface, and it feels like a nightmare in a lot of ways. But as people who work consciously and seriously with our dreams, we know that when we work with the nightmare, we can do the deepest healing when we don't turn away, when we feel the uncomfortable feelings that we've been running away from all our lives. So as white people, as for myself as a white person, when I sit with my internalized racism that I don't want in there, but it, it pops up, you have to learn to sit with those uncomfortable feelings, and then you can resolve them and take right action.
Right.
And that's what real dream work is about. Let me look at what's hardest inside of me, and my subconscious will bring it up in proper time. And not only let me look at it and feel it, but then, in effective dream work, we take an action step. How am I now going to make myself live a little bit differently and interact with the world in a more healing and healthy way?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So it's all connected, right?
Yes, it is. It is. And dreams really do help us sort that out so that we kind of get into the deeper connections rather than just spinning around in our own little mind. So in about 20 minutes, I'm going to open the phones so that you can call in to 831-900-5773. And that's 900-KSQD. You can share a dream you're curious about or ask me or Tzivia a question. I'm here with Tzivia Gover, and this is the Dream Journal on KSQD 90.7 FM. And I am your host, Catherine Bell.
Your honesty shine, shine, shine now. Lord, Lord, like it shines on me. The only living boy in New York. The only living boy in New York.
So we're going to do a short feature on the Summer Solstice. Just a little 1-minute check-in with KUSP. Guy who used to have a show called Planet Watch, Joe Jordan. Joe, are you on the air? I think we got you?
I am.
Okay, welcome.
I am. Welcome. And thanks, Catherine. And dear listeners, another time of transition is upon us. We could all use a little cosmic relief now and then, especially these days. So here's some for you coming up right now. Today, Saturday, June 20th, in about 4 1/4 hours, at 2:44 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, our hero, Mr. Sun, will be directly overhead for some lucky fish or maybe boat in the ocean about 200 miles northeast of the Hawaiian Islands, at the farthest north latitude where the sun can ever be seen straight up and you have no shadow, roughly 23.5 degrees north. Now here in Santa Cruz, the sun at that moment will be a little to the west of south, already past its peak of the day for us. But today's solar noon peak for us comes at 1:10 p.m. local time, Pacific Daylight, when the sun will be highest in the sky that it can ever be seen from here, just 13.5 degrees down due south of our overhead point, or zenith. Many other fun and interesting things to tell you about this, but hey, time flies when you're having fun. There's a saying, dreams fly when freed by the sky. Thanks to Catherine for providing a little time here to celebrate this solar sky mark.
All
Happy
right.
summer.
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Just Joe Jordan, and he had a long-running show on KUSP called Planet Watch, and who knows, maybe we'll get him back on K-Squid, too. So today is the solstice, first day of summer. Thanks for coming on the air, Joe.
Thank you, and keep an eye on the sky.
Absolutely. Bye. All right, this is the Dream Journal, and we're here with Tzivia Gover speaking about mindfulness and dreams and writing. Another big thing you do, Tzivia, is writing. Is that right? You use to dreams. You call your program?
Dreaming on the page. Dreaming on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the connections between dreams and writing are multi-layered, and to me it just seems so obvious that we put these two things together. And in fact, it's so obvious that we don't even notice we do it. I mean, the first thing that anyone tells you when you ask how you can start learning from your dreams or remembering your dreams is keep a dream journal.
That's true.
So right there's this interesting connection with dreams and writing. It's our first layer of connecting with our dreams. But beyond that, writing, of course, is a much newer technology. I'm not great with numbers, but, it's relatively new in the span of human history that we have been literate. But we've been natural storytellers from as far back as we can examine. We know that some of the cave paintings were storytelling, and some of them people are now thinking were dream reports too. But dreams are narrative makers. We have this narration making machine tied into the very core of who we are, and it comes out every night through dreams. So there's this natural connection. We all dream. We're all natural storytellers, and so dreams and writing together are really powerful, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, even just the act of writing the dream down to begin with, it kind of begins the process. And there's so much that I like to do with dreams, like setting up a dialogue with writing in dreams, setting up a dialogue or exploring, speaking from a character in the dream. And what are some of the other ways that you like to explore with writing in dreams?
Well, here's a fun one. I love poetry as well. I love prose and poetry. But it's fun to try to make a dream poem. And that's real easy to do. You can take the dream as a text, just take it as it is on the page and eliminate any words that aren't vibrant or really alive and put in some line breaks. And with it, just minimal editing, see if you can find something that sounds a little bit poetic or that has a strong image and a strong emotion and feels like a complete haiku or poem in and of itself. It can be fun, it can be funny, and it can be profound.
Right, and it really can deepen the work of the dream by putting it in a language that our intuitive self understands, even though our rational mind might not quite follow the narrative. Once it becomes a poem, it can become more an emotional depth sort of approach.
Yeah. I know I have written some dream poems that I didn't know what the dream meant. I don't know what the poem means, but when people read it, or hear it, it resonates with them.
Yeah.
And, we don't, just like you said so eloquently, we don't necessarily need to know what the dream means to create a dream poem or a dream story, because somehow they're connected with this deep collective layer that, it has some resonance.
Right. And that reminds me of the famous aha, that when we had working with a dream, we get this bodily sensation that kind of becomes, aha. And it doesn't mean like I understand the dream all of a sudden. It just means something shifts inside of me. Like I'll get that from reading any kind of poetry, that when we say that something resonates with you, that's what that means for me. It means I have an aha. My body goes,
exactly.
Oh, yeah, that just fits in just the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And dreams are all about the questions, aren't they? I mean, dreams are anything but pat. They don't give us a pat answer. They don't tie up the lesson in a neat little bow most of the time. Sometimes they do, and we get those intuitive dreams. But, most of the time they're confusing, and they bring up more questions than answers. And I think a good poem or a good piece of music or a good story is like that, too. It doesn't tell me what to think. It gives me new perspectives and new ways of thinking about something. That's what dreams do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I understand you also have a Facebook page, a group called 350 Dreamers. Maybe you want to say a little bit about that?
Well, I would love to, especially since it's the solstice.
Yeah.
We are a group of international people who dream together. Wherever we are, we're together in only in the fact that we set an intention together, but physically we're all over the globe. And we set our intention to dream for global healing, and that means different things to different individuals. I started it in response to the climate crisis, wanting to use my own dream power and encourage others to do the same, to send some healing love and energy through our dreams to the planet, and to listen to our deepest selves or the collective unconscious to learn what the planet might need from us. So it's a beautiful thing. And then we gather on Facebook, which we are doing today. So if anyone wants to join us, just type in the number 350 Dreamers on Facebook, and you'll find us. And come and join the conversation. We dreamed together last night, but you could do it tonight, too.
Well, what was the incubation for last night?
So every time it's the same, which is, and people sometimes modify it for themselves, but tonight I dedicate my dreams to global healing, usually in the face of climate change. Last night, a lot of us, of course, did climate change, racial injustice, and all connected areas.
Yep.
But yeah, it's somewhat individualized. You can tailor it to focus where you want to focus, because the best dream incubations have a strong emotional pull for us. So if last night or tonight you're pulled to doing it focused on racial injustice or, the pandemic or whatever, you just roll with that.
And then, so when you say gather together, do you actually have like an interface where you communicate with each other? Or is it like on Facebook, or do you actually talk live?
Facebook.
Yeah.
We should talk live. Let's add that for next time. But no, we do it just on Facebook. Oh, yes. Well, Catherine, we could talk about that. I like that idea. But no, on Facebook, people post their dreams, and then people look at each other's dreams and try to say, if it were my dream, this incubation would be helping me, or this dream would be helping me respond to my incubation in such and such a way. So, yeah,
Right.
and we've had people, one time that we did this several years ago, a woman in Paris decided to give up her car based on her dream.
Oh, wow.
To stop, yeah. So people have made some big and small life changes in response to their dreams. But part of it's just beautiful to connect with other people around the world, knowing that we share the same intention. Yeah, it's a lovely thing to do, and we tend to do it. We do it usually the Friday closest to the solstice or equinox. So we just did it last night.
Okay, all right. That's great.
Yeah.
So what else do you have that's really exciting for you these days around dreams? I mean, there's so many topics.
There's so much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, what's exciting about dreams, I love what's mundane about dreams, right? I love just waking up
That's
every
exciting.
morning, right? It's like every morning they're giving us some little treasure, something funny or something profound, like you shared the lines you woke up with, the imagery from that really intense dream. I mean, you just never know. I always say it's like, like you walk into a multiplex theater and, you don't know a film is playing. You just got a ticket, but you don't know what to. And that's sort of what we do every night. It's totally mundane, and I think it's really cool.
It's true. They always talk about big dreams versus little dreams, but I've never found that to be the case. I've never had a dream that turned out to be a small dream. You know, even those like mundane, the so-called mundane, like frustration at work dreams or whatever things we used to go to work.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Well, even you can get frustrated with your life in many ways, but there's something really profound about that this is what's occupying your mind. And it can, when I started working with those kind of dreams, like with myself and with my dream people too, there's something really powerful about seeing how much energy we tie up in these kind of petty frustrations, and it's really painful to realize how much of our lives are tied up with that. And so, so in that way, that this really seems so seemingly mundane dream can actually have a powerful change for how our behavior is.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And if we actually address them, I mean, we think, they're so common to us, they're so mundane that we overlook them. And, you made a very good case for not overlooking them. And it's like, oh, yeah, just another I'm missing the train dream, or just another I'm showing up naked in public
Lost
dream.
my purse, right? Yeah.
Right? But if we really look to those emotions and address them in some way, address those fears and anxieties, even acknowledging them, with true humility, we might see that clarifies enough inside of us that now the dreams might have something new and interesting, and maybe more interesting to say to us, because now we're at a new layer of readiness. We're at a new level of readiness to tackle something bigger. That's the good news and the bad news. Because the tackling something bigger,
that might be scary.
Bigger fear.
Well, and those mundane things, might be keeping us from tackling those things because they are kind of scary. Sometimes we do have important issues that are important, but we don't want to deal with them because they're scary.
And if we practice on the small stuff, and that, again, I can't help applying everything to the global situation, because last night was our 350 dream night, and maybe because the world is so much with us now.
Yeah, we got Juneteenth yesterday. Yep.
Exactly. So, practicing on the small scale does prepare us on the big scale, so we can practice on the little anxiety dreams to be more calm and courageous in our waking life. And we can practice on the little incidents where we overhear a racist or bigoted or even just unkind remark, and we can practice standing up and not being silent and putting in our voice. And then when we get to the bigger situation where we see an even crueler and larger injustice, then we have more courage to face that. So practicing on little dreams is good practice for life.
Wow, Tzivia, I'm really touched. There's something really powerful here about practicing on the day-to-day the so-called little things, and that phrase also stuck with me, calm and courageous, that you said, helping us be more calm and courageous in the face of small things and big things. Yeah.
And dreams are such good teachers. They're the kind of teacher that you want. They love you and they adore you, but they're going to push you. They're not going to let you be complacent. So, you think you've got it all together. I remember once I was feeling really good. I was feeling really proud of myself. I had been in a graduate school situation where I got a lot of positive feedback, and I was on cloud 9, and boy, didn't I get whomped with the scariest dream I ever had that night. And it was like, my dreams were like, yeah, that is great, Tzivia. We're so happy for you, but you know what? This only shows us that you are strong enough and you are accomplished now to deal with this big fear that you did not want to face.
Right, right.
Once you're on the path, put on your seatbelt and, buckle in because you're going for a really big ride.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is Tzivia Gover, and you're listening to the Dream Journal. This is KSQUID 90.7 FM, community radio of Santa Cruz. We are streaming live at ksqd.org. We are about to start our last segment, so I'd like to invite people to call in. Go ahead and pick up the phone. You can reach us here at 831-900-5773. Again, that is 831-900-5773. Maybe you have a dream you'd like to share, or a question about getting a better night's sleep, or about mindfulness, or about writing. Anything you'd like to talk about dreams, give us a call.
This is the story of how we begin to remember. This is the powerful pulsing of love in the vein. After the dream of falling and calling your name out. These are the roots of rhythm, and the roots of rhythm remain. Ta-ba, boom-ba, boom-ba,
This is the Dream Journal, and my name is Catherine Bell, and we are here live with Tzivia Gover. There is time for call-ins. If you have a question or a dream you are curious about, give us a call, please. The number is 831-900-5773. That's 900-KSQD. So, Tzivia, I understand you're also the education director for the Institute for Dream Studies. I wonder if you'd like to tell us a little bit about that institution.
Yes, absolutely. So the Institute for Dream Studies, when you asked at the very beginning how I got into dreams, I talked to you about the personal level, but on the professional level, in 2009, I decided to really go deeply into my dreams, and I enrolled in the Institute for Dream Studies, which was founded by Justina Lasley.
Yep.
And I took a 2-year certification and became a professional Dreamwork, a certified Dreamwork professional. And now I partner with Justina as her education director for the Institute for Dream Studies. And we train people who want to go deep into dreams to become certified Dreamwork professionals. So,
Right.
Coaches, therapists, artists, people who work in wellness and healthcare, all kinds of people, come to the Institute. It's now virtual. We do it all online, and we have been for 4 years, so we're real experienced in this kind of teaching and training. And it's a 1-year intensive now, and we get people from around the world. We're about to launch our 2020-2021 class starting in July.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, it's
this is one
very
of the
exciting.
This is one of the few places you can actually get certified in Dreamwork now that Jeremy Taylor has passed on. I mean, maybe there's some other
Right.
programs that certainly there's like graduate degrees if you have several
Yeah.
years and $100,000 to spend. But if you want
Exactly.
to go deep but in 1 year in an online program, I've had Justina on the show as well. You can look back; it was probably about a month ago now, 6 weeks. And we talked a little bit about the Institute, which is a passion project of hers and her career as well. What kind of classes do you offer? Like, do you have a certain specialty, like a certain approach to dreams? How would you describe that?
Yeah. So what's different about our program is, I would say, it's very eclectic. We take a very eclectic approach to dreams. We don't believe that there's one way to interpret dreams or that there's one way to work with dreams. So we look at dreams through the historical lens, through a lens of multicultural dreaming, through the lens of science and psychology, and religion and spirituality. So we lay a broad foundation, and then we really do focus a lot on the professional aspect as well. What does it take to be a good dream group leader? What does it take to promote your groups? What does it take to, all those all those nuts and bolts aspects as well. So that makes us both, deep and intellectual, but also really practical.
Right. I took a workshop with you and Justina, and I think it was in Anaheim. You had like a 2-hour workshop about the logistics of being a dream group leader. It was extremely helpful and really get into the nuts and bolts of like how.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah. How do you do it? How do you, how do you advertise it? How do you market it? How do you organize it? Where are you going to hold it? We go into all the details.
Right.
So we're dreamers with our feet on the ground, I like to say. We got our heads in the clouds and our feet on the ground.
That's a lovely image right there. It's kind of a dreamlike image.
Right. And we also have great guest teachers, Robert Wagner, one of the great lucid dream teachers comes to work with our students. And, Robert Haas, who does a lot with colors in dreams and, the dreaming brain. So we bring in guest teachers as well. Yeah, that's very exciting.
Right. So you teach some of the classes and Justina does as well, or how does that work out?
Yeah, we both teach. I'm the lead teacher at this point. Justina and I created the curriculum together. She had her original curriculum. I helped adapt it as an online curriculum, and since then the two of us have been continuing to work on it together. And I do most of the delivery at this point, but we're both in it together. The students get to work with both of us,
Wow. So what new have you been exploring, Tzivia? Do you have something that you're looking forward to that's new for you, that you're really opening up, either in the dream world or otherwise, really?
Yeah, I think all of these things that we've been talking about, they're not new, but I'm constantly integrating them and constantly responding to what's new in the world. Mm-hmm. So, definitely I've been thinking about more like how can Dreamwork, where we really learn to listen deeply inside ourselves, we listen deeply into each other, like how can that help us in the world at large right now in this current moment? And I'm really excited, frankly, just to be, bringing dreams and Dreamwork to more people. My dad was a salesman, so I feel like I'm a natural saleswoman on that regard. Yep. But I'm doing it in the service of something that I truly and deeply believe can help us individually and collectively out of some of the messes that we're in deep with. It just feels so timely right now. I guess that's what's new is, how much we have to do together to face what's going on and how scary it is.
Right.
And how, as we spoke about earlier, we can build the courage to confront it with this dream work.
Well, we talk about the racial injustice, and there's a huge amount of institutional racism in this country, but institution is made up of individuals. And so there's something that we need to change, each of us, to evolve and to become aware of our own biases before we can create the institutions that are truly welcoming to all.
Oh, that's beautifully said. I couldn't agree with that more. I really do think, that expression, let it begin with me, or it's an inside job.
Yeah.
We have to clarify what's inside of us so we can respond in healthy ways to what's outside of us. And that's, at home in your relationships. It's at home with yourself. With your pets, but it's also at work and, the community. And like you said, the whole is made up of these individual parts. It's so important.
Right.
And I feel like the pandemic sort of forced some of us, everybody responded differently and everybody had different responsibilities and roles, but it's forced most of us to take a look inside and quiet it enough around us in some cases so that we could notice some of our own behaviors, some that we're not as proud of than others. And that's okay. That's human. The trick then is to how do you befriend yourself and really, resolve some of these issues so that you can be your best self.
Right. Well, you were talking earlier in the show about fear and kind of befriending fear. Is there a way that we can really have the courage, like you use the phrase calm and courageous, is that to face what's going on for us individually rather than pointing the finger at somebody else or something else. And yes, those things need to change, but we have to start by looking what's going on inside.
Yes, and we find our voice to speak up. You know that experience in a dream where you're yelling but nothing's coming out?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a pretty common experience in a nightmare or a dream. And in a way, we're like that in our day-to-day lives, right? We see things in the newspaper and we're so enraged, but like nothing comes out of our voice, you know? So what's that about, right? We stay silent. So, yeah, I think it's all about taking, I mean, I know it's just time for bold steps, but it's also a time for small steps, you know, like we were talking about before, you know. And the thing about the dream is that it helps us see other perspectives. So in Dreamwork, just sticking to the dream for a moment, you know, there's the antagonist in the dream, and we want to run away in the dream, and we want to run away and get far away from that when we wake up. But when we turn and face that attacker, whether it's in the dream or in Dreamwork afterwards, we can start to see that part of ourself, right? We always look at it as part of ourself, that part of ourself point of view, that they've turned into an attacker. They have some vulnerability at the heart of their need and their desire. And that's where literature comes in too, right? Like we might imagine our way into, you know, the Cyclops in Homer, or, you know, imagine our way into the villain, and what's really driving that villain? What's really driving that attacking energy inside of us? And that's what befriending is about, like just considering that point of view and softening enough to look at it and then find, okay, but there's a better way you can get what you need, right? And that's a conversation instead of a confrontation, but it achieves the end you want.
Right.
In the inner work, and I believe in the outer work.
I think that's a lovely kind of a motto for, well, inner work and outer work. Conversation, not confrontation.
Right. And it's hard to sit through those conversations when people say things that are so dangerous and deadly. But at there's room for all the different kinds of action. But at some point, we do need to do this piece of it too. Yeah.
And for me, a lot of it comes back to mindfulness. Like in the teaser at the top of the hour, I spent a moment inviting listeners to pay attention to their breath. And it's something that I do frequently throughout this show in particular. One of the reasons I love this background music that Rick Kleffel creates for us every week is because it reminds me to pay attention to myself, like sort of like the music I play, the ocean waves I play when I'm falling asleep. You know, something is just kind of brings me back into my body and noticing my breath and my belly. Do I feel safe? And am I breathing? What is my breathing like? And not with even any intent to change any of that, but just to really notice. And I think that's why mindfulness and dreaming are such wonderful companions.
I couldn't agree more. And I meant to say, I just love how you open your show with those few breaths of mindfulness. If we all did that, you know, a few times a day, our lives would change.
Well, every dream group I start, I do a few minutes of mindfulness, because mainly for myself, but I think people say they love it too, because there's something that is really helpful about coming back to the physical sensations, the literal physical sensations. There's something that we're often ignoring going on there.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of information, intuition, instinct. All that comes from the body, in my opinion. I mean, I don't really know, but sensation, internal sensation. You know, thoughts are kind of physical too. They're energy that's sort of coalescing. The brain is a part of the body. People forget that. The brain is part of the body.
Don't we?
In its own way, right?
True. That is so true. Yeah, that's why I really do believe in this mindful approach to sleep and dreams, you know. So, you know, in my book, The Mindful Way to a Good Night's Sleep, I sort of apply yogic principles and mindfulness principles, breath, you know, pranayama, breath exercises, and simple stretches. It works for all of it, for the sleep, for the dreams, and for waking up well, meaning, waking up on all different levels, physically and emotionally, psychologically, waking up collectively, too.
I never, until this conversation, thought about even the word mindful. It almost seems like you ought to be bodyful or something. Isn't it interesting that the word is mindful?
Yeah.
Do you have any insight into why that's called that?
I don't know, but I have my first inspirational self-help book was called Mindful Moments for Stressful Days, and I often joke that I should have called it Mindless Moments for Stressful Days. Because,
mindless. Right.
I experienced so much mindlessness, too, but yeah, I think mindfulness is probably not the best translation of a concept that's, that's much more nuanced.
Right.
But you're right. I think that ultimately, sort of the yogic practices are a great model because even though we're used to just hearing about hatha yoga, the postures,
right.
Yogic philosophy teaches us that we're made up of these subtle bodies that include the physical body, the breath body, the psycho-emotional body, and they call these bodies, the wisdom body and the bliss body. And then beyond that, we go into deeper experiences of oneness and Atman and all that. So, So, yeah, it's embodied. I'm definitely going with that.
It's definitely embodied, yeah. But maybe there's something about taking our mind and focusing it on our body or something rather than on itself. Interesting.
Nice.
So,
I like it.
Tzivia, I wonder, do you have any suggestions to listeners who want to deepen their personal Dreamwork practice? Is there any suggestions that you could offer to our listeners?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing that your listeners have heard the basics, like to put a notebook or a pen and paper by your bed to write down dreams to help you remember them, and also to have dreams to work with. And I'm sure that your listeners know that if you want to remember your dreams and work with them, pay attention to them and show your dreams you're interested in them.
Right. Even the smallest dream, pay attention to that and have gratitude for that. Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
But I would also say for people who are sort of intimidated by dream work in general, to just spend some time with your dreams, stop thinking about interpreting them or understanding them, allow them to open up to you, and that's where writing comes in, Write a story based on a dream or a poem or a song based on a dream, and just by or draw the dream. And just by spending time with the dream or talk about the dream, let the dream's meaning just present itself till you have, as you described, that aha moment.
Yeah. So, Tzivia, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me at my website, which is, if they can spell my name, they can get in touch with me because my email and my website are my name, Tzivia, T-Z-I-V as in Victor, I-A, Gover, G-O-V-E-R. So it's TziviaGover.com or Tzivia.Gover@gmail to contact me. And my book, The Mindful Way to a Good Night's Sleep, is a great way to read more about a lot of these concepts I'm talking about. How do we apply mindful and yogic principles to sleep and dreams?
Okay, wonderful. And those the contact information will be on the podcast page as well, so you can always check out there, and I'll have links for all of that. And do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, I'm just sort of feeling the gratitude in this moment that you are out there doing this and amplifying your voice when it comes to dreams. And I encourage others to talk and think about dreams and enjoy them.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Tzivia Gover. It's been a delight.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate having this time to talk with you and your listeners.
All right. Well, take care, and I imagine we'll talk again soon.
That sounds good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. So I want Dream Journal listeners to mark your calendars for July 4th. On Independence Day, we are going to have a live call-in only show. So you're going to have to pick up the phone, help me out. So July 4th, Independence Day, I want you all on the phone. So think about your dreams, anything you'd like to ask questions about, or dream synchronicities you'd like to share, or any questions about dreams that you've been wanting to ask. Now's your chance. So 2 weeks from today, on July 4th, the Dream Journal will be a call-in only show. And next week, between now and then, we will have Laura Suzanne on the air. Laura is an author. She's a dream worker, and she lives in Las Vegas. I believe she's moving soon. She will share her simple technique for breaking down and decoding even the most complex or bizarre dreams. She uses this technique on her dreams, and she's happy to share it with you so you can use it on yours. Tune in live or catch the podcast replay.
Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries far behind you. But in your
I am Catherine Bell, and this has been the Dream Journal. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. I offer private sessions, dream groups, and online classes. If you have a dream you're curious about, you're welcome to contact me for a free introductory dream consultation. You can also reach me at Catherine@ksquid.org. That's KATHERINE at ksqd.org. Let me know if you have suggestions for interviews or questions about a dream. Or maybe you just want to say hi. If you like this show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or tell a friend about the show. If you share with your friends how much you're enjoying this show, then that was good for spreading the word about dreams. My mission here is self-awareness and increasing the understanding and excitement around dreams. I'd like to thank my program assistant, Max Deepen, and our creative musician, Rick Kleffel, who created this original composition for our ambient music today. And thank you to all the generous donors who support this station. KSQD is 100% listener supported, and donations are always welcome at ksqd.org. That's all for the Dream Journal. Join us next week again at Saturday at 10 a.m. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, take a minute to look within. Do you remember a dream? Write it down and bring it to the next Dream Journal. Are you ready to wake up to the power of your dreams? I am Catherine Bell, and you are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz.